Hey guys, so if you're watching this is because you're listening to the So or my Seed of the Week, which is a segment on my podcast where I talk about something inspirational, motivational, or helpful that I've found out throughout the week, or something that's helped me throughout my life. It could be a person, an article, a movie, a documentary, a thought, a podcast, anything that I've come across. And I decided that I wanted to bring that to you guys to help you, to inspire you, to make changes in your life like I've managed to make changes in my life. So now I've decided to start recording it. It's just a real short, usually 10 to 15 minute segment in my podcast that I'm checking on YouTube now, so I hope you enjoy it. This is the first one I've recorded. It's So number 7, so enjoy it. Kia ora guys, and welcome back to the Plant Power Podcast. My name is Dylan Siebels, I'm your host. This is the So, or the Seed of the Week, where I come to you each week with a small snippet, segment, dosage, injection of inspiration and motivation that hopefully will plant a seed in you that can grow to help you change your life, to become a better person, all of that stuff. So it's basically an article, a movie I've seen, a documentary, a person, a podcast, a thought I've had that I want to bring to you in a short little segment each week that can, just change your life. That's what I'm all about. And this week I'm talking about getting out of your comfort zone. So that is a topic which is talked about a ton. But I want to talk about how you can actually apply it to your life, what it really takes, what it really means. And you might feel a little bit uncomfortable with this podcast because I'm going to reveal some stuff that I think is quite important. But yeah, I'm gonna show you how to make getting out of your comfort zone real and actually make some shit happen. But as you know, for each So I dedicate it to an amazing listener, a supporter who has supported me or left a review or a comment. And today it is a supporter called Lisa Swinbank. So I thank you so much, Lisa. Lisa is the first person to contribute to my Patreon page that isn't a close family or friend. So, I got real emotional when I first saw this, that Lisa had donated to my Patreon, because receiving some energy in the form of money for the work that I do each week means seriously the world to me. So thank you so much, Lisa, for donating to my Patreon. It means the world. It means I can keep doing this. I can keep bringing out better content for you guys. So thank you so much. I love you, Lisa. And if you want to be shouted out on the Plant Power Podcast, then leave a review, email me, comment, whatever, and we can spread some love. So I thought for this, the best place to start would be why people are always talking about getting out of your comfort zone. You hear it so much, and the basis for it is basically that as humans, we, and any animal, wants to take the path of least resistance, because back when we were evolving, we wanted to be most efficient with our energy. We wanted to eat the most high-calorie diet, but now we live in a world where everything is so easy. We have an abundance of food. We have an abundance of technology. We have warm houses. We can pay people to do stuff. You could literally sit at home and do nothing. And what happens when you do this is that you might feel comfortable and you might feel safe. And that's going down to those primal needs that we are looking for, because that's how we've evolved. But you become a person you're not really living. You're not living a fulfilled, real, and happy life. And getting out of your comfort zone can, first of all, help you to figure out who you are, learn about who you are, and then start to live a fulfilled, content, exciting life, and using comfort as a guide, as a guide for that, as a way to do that. So if you're wondering, you're like, Dylan, why do I need to be uncomfortable? Why do I need to figure out who I am as a person? And it's because everyone here has been put on this planet to do something. You have a duty, you have a mission, and it is your mission to figure out what that is and to shine your light. So we don't need any more people doing what society thinks they should be doing. We need everyone to get to that path intersection and then take the path less traveled, the hard path. Because if you're taking that left path, the one that's easy and which has been done by everybody else, then you're doing not only a disservice to yourself, but to the rest of humanity. You have been put on this world to shine your unique light. And by doing that, you're going to help people and others to figure out who they are and live fulfilling life. So you need to figure out what fulfills you in your life. You need to figure out what your light is, what your mission is, to help you have an amazing life. And therefore, if you're living an amazing life, you're going to help other people live amazing, fulfilling lives. Okay, so great. How do we do that? So I think the first and the most important place to start before we even think about getting uncomfortable, is to start with your story. What are you telling yourself? Are you a parent with 3 kids, a job, a mortgage, and no time? Are you just this person who's so unfit that there's no way you could start training? Is there only unhealthy food accessible to you, so there's no way that you could start eating healthy? What can happen is that we create stories which we think are reasonable excuses for why we can't do things, but what we're actually doing is hiding behind excuses so we don't have to face reality. Now, that's dropping some real shit right there. That's me being straight up. So if you might be offended by that, I don't know, whatever that is, but think about that. It's so easy to hide behind a lie. You can be living the story and you're telling yourself that you can't do this, you can't do that, but you're using the story as an excuse not to go out there and strive for your goals, reach for your goals, be uncomfortable. So it's really important to stop lying to yourself and then start changing that story once you start being honest with yourself. Once you start being honest with yourself, you can start changing that story and stop saying, I don't have enough time, I'm too unhealthy, I could never do that, I don't want to get injured too. Changing your perception. It's all perception, right? You have the ability to do whatever you want, but it's how you perceive your life that decides whether or not you can achieve it. And so the reason I actually wanted to do this podcast, because I've been wanting to do one on getting out of your comfort zone for ages, but I listened to a podcast with David Goggins, who I'll leave notes in the show notes. He's an incredible guy who's so motivational. He's all about getting outside your comfort zone, and he has this quote, which I think is really fitting for changing your story. So it's this: I believe that we are all artists. I believe that God, or whatever you believe in, He makes you an artist. What your job is in this world is to paint your own masterpiece. The key there is your own masterpiece. And you know me, I'm all about meditation. I'm all about being mindful. And I think that plays a massive part in this as well. So it's like, where do you start with this? Where do you figure out if you're being honest with yourself? And then where do you go from there to figure out what you actually want to do? And I think that all starts with a mind. That starts with sitting down for some quiet contemplation, some quiet meditation to reflect on yourself. Because if you're constantly trying to figure out what you want to do and figuring out your life whilst being in the bustle, busyness of life, you're never going to get anywhere. You need to sit down and do that hard work to really ask yourself, is this the life you want to be living? Is this what you want to be doing with your life? Are you happy? Are you really unhealthy that you can't get out and exercise? Are you really that unfit? Are you really that busy? Be honest with yourself. It's the best place to start. And sitting down for some quiet contemplation, some quiet meditation, you can start to dig into that. Because another really, really great quote from David Goggins is that you don't need anything but the breath in your fucking lungs to become great. So sit down, start with the breath, figure out, contemplate. Number 1, are you being honest with yourself? And then number 2, you can start to figure out what you could be doing to start getting outside your comfort zone and start to changing your story, your life. Cool, so where do you actually start with this uncomfort thing? And then I think a really great place to start is to not be like, right, I'm going to quit my job and start a business, because that's an uncomfortable thing to do. Or I'm going to enter a 100-kilometer race without any training, because that's an uncomfortable thing to do. I think a really great thing is to start small with some things that make you feel uncomfortable that might not even be related to what your goal is in life or how you want to fulfill your life. So, for example, that could be taking a cold shower, or waking up earlier, or starting some dancing lessons, or talking to someone random on the street. Just start to learn what it feels like to be uncomfortable, how to deal with uncomfortableness, and how amazing and fulfilling and incredible it feels when you do and achieve something that felt uncomfortable to start with. And then from there, you can use comfort as your guide. So when you start feeling uncomfortable about something, so say you figured out that you want to start your own business, when you start taking steps that feel uncomfortable, then you know that you're on the right path. Or if, just for example, if your life is if your goal is just for your life to be more fulfilling and enriched, do things that make you feel uncomfortable. Use that as a guide. So, For example, for me, I find interviewing really well-known guests who have been on a million podcasts, I find that so uncomfortable. I find that so scary. Even just interviewing people I know, I find that scary. So I use that really uncomfortable, anxious feeling as a guide that this is something I should be doing, because I know that I'm going to finish that podcast, that interview, and it's going to be incredible, and I'm going to have learned so much about the person and what they have to say, but also about themselves. But just remember that that's my story. That's what makes me feel uncomfortable. Doing big races makes me feel uncomfortable. But who are you? What makes you feel uncomfortable? What makes you feel uncomfortable might be completely different to what makes someone else feel uncomfortable. So that's again where that mindfulness, that meditation really comes into play. You need to sit down and figure out what works for you. And it's so easy, even for me to listen to someone like David Goggins or someone like that who's so inspirational, so motivational, has done some incredible things with their life. But you need to figure out what you want to do. And it doesn't mean replicating or copying and doing exactly what else someone has done just because it seems so amazing. You need to figure out where is your light going to shine? Where is your path? Where is your journey? Because at the end, it's all about you. It's all your journey. And it's about figuring that out. You can use these people as motivation and as inspiration, but really take the time to figure out what makes you uncomfortable and where you want to be fulfilled and where you want your path to be. So, like I said at the very, very start of this podcast and this topic, it's comfort is used as a guide to figure out who you are as a person, so you can shine your light, you can find your mission in this world, because we need you. We need you to, wake up, to figure out who you are and start living your purpose, because we need you in this world. We don't need you to keep doing what's easy, what people think you should be doing. We need to shine your light and be there for us. So thank you guys so much for listening, and remember to leave a review or subscribe to the podcast. And if you want to go the extra mile, jump onto Patreon. It's just Plant Power. Chuck me a couple of dollars each month. It means the world. I can put more quality and consistency into this. Thank you guys so much for listening. Get out there and do something uncomfortable. Do something crazy. You'll be so amazed with what you're capable of. I love all of you. Thank you so much. Peace and namaste.